EHIC National Health Card. Strictly speaking, you don't really need private healthcare if you're going to Europe or the EC, because you're entitled to the stuff they've got, their citizens get, but their provisions aren't necessarily the same as ours, so the advice seems to be private medical insurance. And again, if you don't declare everything, or if you do declare everything, it might take weeks to sort that out if you've got any health issues. So be very, very early about getting the health insurance sorted out. And tell them everything, I mean everything. Because if you have to claim and they find out you've been fibbing, it's going to be expensive, isn't it? Speed limits. Abroad, the roads, as we all know, the roads are wider, they're better, we've got less motorists on them, but they're unfamiliar, so take your time. The signs are pretty standard all over Europe, but not completely. And get to know the speed limits. There's just no excuse for breaking the speed limits if you get caught. Right, bits of equipment that are legal in Europe, that are needed in Europe, which aren't needed here. The warning triangles you all know about. Some countries require 2 of them, others only 1. Can you all hear, by the way, now? As long as I keep the head here. Reflective tabards, bulb sets. The tabards have apparently got to be readily available. I've had a couple of things arise and just never crossed my mind. Straight out the van, no tabard. So bear in mind. Has anybody ever been sort of stopped for not having a tabard on? Any hands? Anyway, carry on. Headlamp beam deflectors. There's a vicious rumour being spread that the new Fiats don't need them. They do. They definitely do. Tyres. The camping tyres that most motorhomes have fitted are quite difficult to get hold of. And if the tread depth is anything near approaching the legal limit, knowing how long it takes to get them, plan it weeks or months in advance. Because the only tyres you're going to get abroad are van tyres, unless you're very lucky. Especially doing high mileage on these front-wheel drive vehicles, because the maximum you'll get from those front-wheel tyres is 25,000–30,000, I would think. So if you're going to go out for 10,000 miles, just think about the front tyres. Rear-wheel drive are a bit better. They don't use the tyres nearly as much. Take a decent foot pump, pumping the tyres up. Those little electric things, unless you can find a really good one, tend to burn out on van tyres quite readily if you've never used them. With bikes, in Spain and Italy, there's a legal requirement for a marker board on the bikes on the back. In Spain it can be plastic, but in Italy I believe it has to be metal. Why? I don't know, but there we are. Apparently in Italy it's got to be a metal one. Breakdown cover, not a legal requirement. If you're happy travelling without breakdown cover, fine, do it. We've got a Fiat. We get breakdown cover. Okay, channel crossings. It would appear that nobody's prepared to tell you how much they want to charge you for channel crossings nowadays. You've just got to sort of troll the internet and find out how much they want to charge. So the consensus seems to be that about 6 weeks in advance will find the best deal. How you play it depends on what you want to do. The shortest ferry routes, Dover, Calais, Dover, Dunkirk, are definitely the cheapest. But Dover is awful, isn't it? And to get to from the west or the north is a pain in the neck, Dover. Portsmouth and Plymouth are a lot nicer to get to, but cost 3 times as much to get across. Consequently, we've got to Dover from the north of England. Last time we went over to Dunkirk with the FDS, and Dunkirk is a lot nicer than Calais to go to. It means you have to drive back if you're going south. You can sleep on the terminal without any problems. And also the last summer, I don't know what's happening this summer, but Dover Dunkirk was probably a third cheaper than Dover Calais.
Is it a legal requirement yet to carry breathalyser kits in France?
I believe it's just been introduced that. Rachel's going to step in here.
The regulation comes in June, July time. However, they're not enforcing it, they're not fining people until November. They will be stopping people and checking they've got a breathalyser, but yes, it will be a legal requirement for all vehicles, whether you're on a motorbike, as a car or a motorhome, to carry a breathalyser in the kit that is unopened. It needs to be unopened. So the advice is to buy a twin kit, and our advice is if you're at all unsure and you need to use a breathalyser, you shouldn't be driving. But the regulation is you have to carry one.